I'm making bone needles and it sucks so bad. So I'm an archaeologist, I'm doing some experimental archaeology, and there's actually not all that much research done on the bone needles. Probably because early archaeologists wasn't really concerned with what was called women's work, and obviously sewing is often considered women's work. So one of the papers I read when I knew I wanted to look at bone needles talked about how basically, you would use a bone needle the normal way when sewing through thin leather, but when you get to more thicker leather, you would have to use a awl to puncture it before you use the needle to sew with. And so I wanted to test what's the threshold of when your bone needle would start breaking and you would switch to an awl. Like, how thick of leather would you be able to sew with just a needle? Which means I have to make so many of as identical of needles as I can possibly make, and it takes forever, and these ones aren't even done yet. Currently, my only goal is to get them all the same, diameter, which is about 2 millimeters, which is the average for North American Paleo-Indian bone needles. And I'm starting off with blanks like these, and some of these are wide enough that I am sawing them in half with a hacksaw to make 2 of these, and then from that point I have to grind them with this giant roll of sandpaper that I've been using until they are 2 millimeters wide. Now, in the past, they would have used sandstone, but sandpaper is the modern equivalent to sandstone, and it's a lot easier to get your hands on, so don't worry about accuracy. Also, in terms of accuracy, these needles are not gonna have eyes in them like the real ones would have, because frankly, it shouldn't affect how they break in my study, and also I really didn't want to, and it would take so much more time. Also, this isn't the final length. The actual ones were usually about 7 to 5 centimeters long, and so these are way too long, but I'm currently, again, just trying to get them to the same, diameter, and then also these aren't pointed yet, and they will need to be to actually work as needles. This is all I've made. And I've been working on this for so long. It takes about 2 hours to go from a blank to one of these, and it's so long. I had one break in half while I was sanding it yesterday, making it not long enough to use in my study anymore, and I almost crashed out. So wish me good luck as I continue this project. I'll keep you guys updated as I continue as well.